Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood for YouTube, back with another Dark Shadows video for you guys and gals. This video is about Michael Stroka's Aristide. They don't make henchmen like they used to, right? And really, he's the ideal henchman. Now, to give a differential, we've seen in Dark Shadows, we've seen henchmen or even henchwomen try to betray their masters a bit or even go against their master's wishes, if you will. For example, Willie Loomis is trying to phone up people saying, Maggie's at Eagle Hill. Maggie, yeah. There's none of that here. And then you get the lovely Laura Parker, who was a vampire at the time when, who gets turned into a vampire, I should say, eventually during the Adam arc, where she she intentionally bites Barnabas. Now, some people might say, well, she was given into the bloodlust. I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that. My biggest issue with that is keep in mind Angelique knows who stuck the knife in her back, and it's the very person she's serving under, which is now Nicholas. So here's Angelique, an opportunity to stick the knife into Nicholas's back, and she's taking advantage of it. With Aristide, you don't have that. You know, I often tell you guys I'm a fan of the Shadow as well. And when I look at Count Patofe and I look at Aristide, I see a lot of Shadow-esque here. And what I mean by that is the Shadow would have when he would recruit an agent, he would tell them, I demand I demand obedience, full obedience. Now, you don't necessarily you don't get that right away with Aristide and Patofe, where you hear this conversation between Patofe and Aristide. But here's the thing: you don't need to hear that right away because when you first meet Aristide, you don't know who he is or if he's working for somebody, if he's for somebody else. In fact, when I first saw Aristide coming in, I thought he was one of the gypsies, actually guilty, you know. So I'm thinking, man, is this the gyps? When I saw that dancing lady, that knife he pulled, I'm thinking, man, the gypsies are rough. They're playing for keeps. But I thought the Magda Curse and Quentin was bad, but they're ready to throw down, stab you, like they want that hand back in business. They mean business, um, and they. That's what I thought, but to my surprise, when I first watched this all those years ago, I was really surprised to learn that not only is this guy he's not out for himself, he's out for somebody else. And then you meet Ben Givens, and you're not sure what to make of him other than Aristide's working on him. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Because I know I jumped around there a bit, so I apologize. So Aristide has the hand. He gets the hand off of Quentin by using the dancing lady, and which is a knife, by the way. If I haven't mentioned that, so it's this long, like sort of. It looks like it's dancing in a sense, and he's holding it to Quentin. Quentin doesn't want stabbed, so he hands the hand over. Now we have a unique situation where we have an unknown person has the hand. He, here, here is here's the fun part. So Aristide has the hand. He's down, waiting for someone else to, he's walking, and then here comes Aristide, or sorry, here comes Angelique, and he's standing there, and he's like, "Oh, who are you?" And Laura Parker, who's a stunning, beautiful woman, as Angelique, seduces him into, "Oh, can I have your handkerchief?" "Sure, sure." And she's wrapping her. "What's that?" Boom! He's like choking. Listen, you've heard the phrase "down goes Frazier," right? Well, down goes Aristide. This is like the knockout punch, right? Like, bam! He goes down. Angelique's just like gets the hand back, takes it like Aristide, and this introduces a flaw in the character. He has a weakness for women, and it makes the character all the more interesting for it. Though he's an antagonist, antagonists always have an interesting tale or interesting weakness or something else interesting about them. Not all antagonists are just one minded or cold blooded killers, Though Aristide is, in my mind, a cold-blooded killer who's very self-confident, who's very narcissistic in a way, but also very charming with the ladies. So therefore, that is his one weakness. Now, Quentin has a similar weakness with the women, as we all know. But with this, when you get that introduction of, well, wait, he has a weakness for women, then here comes Fitzbin-Gibbons, who sort of kicks him. So now, here's this Fitzbin-Gibbons. He's interested in the hand. Now, did I know that was Petofi right away? No. Again, with Dark Shadows, you never wanted to assume anything because I've often talked about, Dark Shadows had a touch of Val Luton to it. Dark Shadows to me was always asking the audience, its audience, what do you think is going on here with its characters, with its plots? What's your interpretation? Because and really that's one of the best ways to tell a story is they're not they are telling you things, but there's things they're not always telling you that they're leaving you to maybe presume or assume or just guess for yourself, which is great. You always want that element of surprise, and that's something Val Luton did, and it's something Dark Shadows would continue to do with its characters like Aristide. Aristide, though an antagonist, is very interesting. When he's in a blue whale, he's flirting with Julianka. Again, there's another point. Hey, he has a weakness for women. Did I think that Aristide was going to get with Julianka? No, but that would have been an interesting side plot if that would have happened. We all know Julianka ends up dead. She's not a, a long character. It's not a character arc that's going to be really long, but it is a character's death that's going to be important because though Patofe is the one who kills her, you got to believe Aristide knew that that was coming and had no problem with it. Again, this is somebody who is fully obedient to his master. This is somebody who doesn't try to second guess his master. In fact, one of the best scenes with Aristide to sort of demonstrate this, to sort of keep in mind what Aristide has to lose and Charles de la Bartate if Patofe were to die. Aristide knows this, yet when Patofe finally has his hand laying on his body and he's laying there trying to will the hand back on himself in this deep meditative state, though Patofe is in a weakened state, here's Barnabas Collins, played by the late great Jonathan Frid, who's pacing back and forth, who's saying we should go in there, he could die. Because keep in mind, Barnabas has been told that hand can cure Quentin. So if Patofe dies, the hand's going to go with him. He doesn't want that to happen. Now, here's Aristide sitting down, cool as a cucumber. Sorry for jumbling my words. So he has this, right, and it's just like, well, wait a second. Here's the henchman. He's just like, sit down, Mr. Collins. And it's like, you're shocked at this. Here's this guy who is so loyal to Patofe, has as much to lose as Barnabas, as Charles de la Bartate, who you're going to come to find out. Yet, he's totally relaxed. He's not panicking. He's just watching Barnabas pace around. Sit down. There's nothing weak. Because I love Michael Stroka's performance with this character. To me, Michael Stroka could have been a Collins. They could have potentially played him as oh God, what's it? Caleb. They could have played Michael Stroka as Caleb if they would have, and I wouldn't have minded that at all. Now, with this though, with Michael Stroka's performance as Aristide, it's one of the most, to me, underrated. Dark Shadows is full of underrated performances. And Michael Stroke is just another one of those where it's like, holy crap, is he great at this? Because keep in mind, when he's sitting there, he's not going, oh, I'm worried too. No, he's just, his face, it's the best poker face you'll ever see. This would out poker face any professional poker player you'll ever meet because Michael Stroker just plays it straight. Like he knows realistically there's nothing he can do but wait. And I think that's what he's trying to relay to Barnabas. There's nothing we can do. It's out of our hands. And that's, it's funny because it, there's something Angelique sort of says too that sort of relates to this. When Angelique's trying to get Barnabas out of 1897, she's basically telling him, there's nothing you can do. You can't do what she's basically saying to him, what's about to happen is fate. You can't intervene with fate. And in my interpretation, if you disagree, please do. But at the same time, that's what Michael Stroke is basically saying to Barnabas. It's not in my hands anymore. It's not in your hands. This is in fate's hands. This is in Potoffi's hands. We can't interfere here. If we interfere, it'll just mess things up. And he keeps stopping Barnabas from going to the inside. He's like, you can't go in there. It's out of our hands. There's nothing there's nothing you can do. And finally, when Potoffi comes out, Aristide was right all along. It was out of their hands. Again, because realistically, though Barnabas is a vampire, what can he do? Up until this point, they haven't been able to get the hand to do what they wanted it to do. That includes Barnabas and Magna, and Julianka didn't live long enough to demonstrate her power. So again, they've run into several problems with having the severed hand of Count Andreas Potoffi. And by the way, for those who aren't Dark Shadows fans, if you've never seen it, Count Andreas Potoffi is Fitzben-Gibbons. So again, an alternate identity, quite like the Shadow. It's a very, very unique character. And again, Potoffi surrounds himself with unique characters like an Aristide, like a Charles Delaware Tate. What Michael Stroker brings to the character is so unique. It's not your typical henchman where it's like, oh, I don't know if we should do this. No, when something gets asked of Aristide, he does it without hesitation. He does it without question. If you've ever seen Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, there are characters in Halloween 3, Season of the Witch who are wearing all suits, black gloves, hands, and they do whatever is commanded of them. They do what's told. I like to think secretly, while they were making these robots, they had pictures of Michael Stroker's Aristide on the wall. This is who you need to be like. Because really, you do. If you're going to be fully obedient to somebody or serve somebody without question, your ideal character is Aristide. And I mean, he is. He does things without questioning the count. He does things that he doesn't. This isn't Willie and Barnabas where Willie's like, I don't want to do that. No, you go and do it. There's not an argument. There's not a debate. It gets done. And this is what I mean by full obedience. This is absolute loyalty here. This is loyalty in its purest form. Though it's for an antagonist, it goes to show you just how far Aristide would go. And I mean, he would kill for the count, and he attempts to several times, where he tried, him and Quentin have many square offs with the dancing lady. And finally, Quentin just says, let the lady dance, and knocks him on his ass. David Sullivan, great job. I love the fight sequences in Dark Shadows were just cool. They were cool. They were so awesome, right? And they're timeless. It's like, get them. So I'm a nerd. But again, it's just great dialogue, great performance, and really too something that doesn't get said well enough for Michael Stroker's performances. I don't look at my other favorite character of his, Bruno. Really is a unique character too. Writes the Ode to Angelique song, plays it. Obviously, we know that who really wrote it, right? But I just think when it comes to Aristide, he's a very interesting character. And keep in mind, if you think, well, Potoffi doesn't care about Michael Stroker's Aristide, think about this. When Count Andreas Potoffi, who's played by Thera David, has a dream or a premonition about Michael Soroka's character being killed by this hooded man with a sword. He wakes up and warns him right away, like he needs to find Aristide, and he basically, he needs to protect Aristide. So here's somebody who did value the people who worked under him. He did not want them to perish because he not only valued their loyalty, he valued their protection too. So Patofe did reward loyalty, and I think that's something that doesn't get said enough too. Yes, ultimately Michael Stroka's Aristide would portray Count Patofe, but in many ways you could argue or debate that it's Count Patofe's fault that that happens. Aristide disappears when after the body switch sort of happens. He's not around too much, and he's sort of so keep in mind, Count Andres Patofi switches bodies with Quentin Collins, which is really, really amazing. So there's there's this moment where they've switched back. Quentin is in his own body, but Aristide doesn't know it. So he's going up to Quentin, what do you want to do? Keep in mind, up until that point, Count Patofi, who, when he was in Quentin's body, would not order his body destroyed or killed. So finally, and it's something Aristide's been wanting to do, has sort of been pestering the Count about. So finally, when the Count orders him to do it, he's like, "You've changed your mind." He's all too happy to do it. Like, let's get rid of it. Hey, why have it around if we don't need it, right? This this plot in Dark Shadows is important because keep in mind, up until that point, even before the body switch, what has Count Andres Patofi been wanting to do? Get the hell out of 1897. It's like you've heard of Escape from New York, right? Well, for Count Patofe, it's Escape 1897 by any means necessary. So when you have this sort of dilemma with this character where he's wanting to get 18 out of 1897. In my opinion, the reason he wants to do this is because he's afraid of the gypsies. I've often said the gypsies did fear Patofe, but Patofe feared the gypsies right back. They don't get enough credit as enemies of Patofe. Um, because again, he's not wanting to stick around even after the death of Johnny Ramona. He's not wanting to stick around. It's not like he's popping champagne bottles celebrating. No, he's wanting to get the hell out of Dodge. Um, so when he's in Quentin's body, he wants to know about the I Ching. He wants to get out of 1897. So, but then the body switch happens back, where I think the reason it happened back is because he thought he had willed the hand's power to Quentin, but it didn't last. And I think there was sort of an unwritten rule to that hand where, hey, no, this severed hand has the power. Your hand. You can't just switch bodies and put the hand in hand's power into another hand. It doesn't work that way. So, and keep in mind too, by the time when Cal Patofe gets his hand back, it's been a long time since he's had that hand. It was probably rusty and using its power in a way. Now, again, that's just my opinion. So when Quentin, who is Quentin, tells, yeah, go kill him, he thinks it's Patofe telling him. So he takes the dancing lady and he stabs his master, Count Andreas Patofe, in what we know as the Evans cottage, right? Or sorry, Matthew Moore. Yeah, the Evans house, but. The Evans cottage. Everybody paints in there, right? Everybody paints in there. Just paint in there. Actually, isn't he in Matthew Morgan's? I don't know. I'm forgetful. I'm old. You guys can remind me. But really, and to sort of give a setting for Charles Delaware Tate, played by Roger Davis, Charles Delaware Tate is a very famous painter, and he was given powers by Patofe to bring his paintings to life. Patofe is shocked by this, or acts shocked by this, and then Patofe takes it away, but Patofe gives it back. Again, rewarding Roger Davis's characters, Charles Delaware Tate's loyalty. Again, he always did reward it. Now, with the stabbing happen, uh, Count Andreas Patofe sits Garth Blackwood on those dead Garth Blackwood on Michael Sroka's Aristide, and we know what happens. He gets killed. Very, very, very interesting character Aristide was. Played by Michael Sroka. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want, I got a Western video to do tonight. I got my dates sorted out now. I'm awful. Um, I am going to do some Dark Shadows videos over the weekend. I'm going to have two up, obviously Saturday. Christine Pierce, Cara Tilly's, Penny Dreadful will be on. We're going to do the Vampires of Collinsport. Sunday, I'm going to do two more, Sunday night, I should say, I'm going to do two more Dark Shadows videos for you guys. So I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you over the weekend. Bye.